been tested in front of huge crowds, but this has been maybe a defining week in their season.
It was just the 4th time all year that they trailed after the 5th or 6th inning. They are now 2-2 in such cases. Not the case for Patrick Murphy's Crimson Tide. They have lost 8 leads this season in the 5th or 6th inning or later. Have to find a way to get it done. And what he said, Amanda, is we have to find a way to get timely hits. They were unable to do so yesterday. And today he starts Jocelyn Briskey in the circle. Will be interesting to see how she responds after giving up that go-ahead pinch hit home run in the 7th last night to Maya Bland.
And I'll be honest, I mean, it's not easy to run back out there after giving up that home run in the 7th inning and ended up being the game-winning home run and then get the start. But she has a really big opportunity because the things that feel hard, that feel challenging, that feel uncomfortable are the things that are going to grow you the most. And a big opportunity for Briskey to come out and show what she is made of for her team here in her home field.
2-1 to Cassidy Pickering. That gets away from Riley Valentine, making her first start of the series behind home plate for Alabama. It is an Oklahoma offense that is top 5 in the country in a host of categories, including runs scored, home runs. But this team's specialty is getting on base however they can. Top 5 in the country in walks and on-base percentage. 3-2 to Pickering. And she goes down on strikes.
Look, if you're Jocelyn Briskey, you have to be able to push yesterday to the side and focus on today. She's going to really work her drop ball at 62% of the time, the rise ball that she just got the strikeout on at 21% of the time, and her curveball 7% of the time. But the pitch that she will need to keep these hitters off balance is a changeup that she doesn't throw very much, but she can throw it well. It is, however, the same pitch that Maya Bland hit the go-ahead home run yesterday.
Nelly McEnroe Marinas, the redshirt freshman from Hawaii, has been on a tear in SEC play to this point. Chopper to the left side, scooped it short, and a nice play by Saylin Hawkins. Sidearm sling to first, 2 down.
And I want to show you this changeup that Briskey can work down in the zone alongside her drop ball. So that drop ball at 62% of the time that she can locate down in the zone, and that changeup she can spot very well. Again, not a pitch that she leans on a lot, but a pitch that she needs, and she can throw well when she needs to.
2 away now for Ella Parker. It was interesting. We chatted with Patty Gasso, the Oklahoma head coach, before this game, and we asked, what was the difference late in the game against Alabama pitching compared to the first 5 innings? She said we went up with a plan to attack one speed late in that game, as opposed to early, Amanda, going up guessing. Would it be velocity? Would it be off speed?
And not getting caught in between speeds, which for any offense in the country is going to be an issue to not lead to a lot of good results. High batting average, high on base percentage, and they just looked uncommitted is the word that she used in her mid-game interview. But later on, as the game went on in that 7th inning, backs against the wall, they recommitted and won the game.
And it was Maya Bland coming to the plate in the 7th with the plan to sit changeup against Jocelyn Briskey and put Oklahoma ahead 2-1. They ultimately plated 5 runs in the inning, and they won game 1 5-1. A 2-out walk drawn by Ella Parker.
Jocelyn Briskey has really good stuff. Can have a rise ball that jumps. She got that strikeout on of Pickering, who has just been so hot. You see her swing and miss. As a pitcher, you're feeling good about that. But it's not just that she can throw that pitch up. She spreads the zone vertically with her drop ball and can change speed. She has the stuff.
Backhanded at third by Alstead on the first in time, and Briskey pitches around a 2-out walk, scoreless top half. Bama picks up the bats when we return from T-Town. Welcome back to Rhodes House. Another packed crowd, over 4,400 on hand yesterday for game one. Similar crowd expected tonight. And in game two for Oklahoma, Kirsten Deal, the junior from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Amanda gets the start.
Yeah, Kirsten Deal brings a lot of experience in an Oklahoma uniform, won a couple of national championships with them her freshman and sophomore year. Really good stuff from the left-hand side to follow up a great complete game performance from Landry last night.
Well, Alabama enjoying one of the best offensive seasons in program history. Speed has been the name of the game for the Crimson Tide. Audrey Vandegrift leads the nation in stolen bases for an Alabama team that leads the SEC with 97 stolen bags this year.
And look at where Nellie McEnroe-Marinas, the third baseman, is playing for OU in Vandegrift's face, respecting the fact that she can lay down a bunt. Has some pop, though, too, and that's why it's so tricky as a corner, especially as a third baseman, to figure out where you want to play her with all the speed that she has.
All-state in the 100 and 200 meters in high school. Takes strike one.
Lefty on lefty matchup here in this game, and I think Coach Murphy anticipating a lefty starting for OU, whether it was going to be Kirsten Deal or maybe Audrey Lowry. So 3 different hitters who did not start in the game last night are getting the start today for Alabama.
We will see Alexis Papillo in the DP spot. Riley Valentine, of course, behind the plate for Alabama. And then in the 9 spot, Kristen White, who has had an excellent last 10 games, though she has not regularly been in the starting lineup over the last 2 weeks. Another payoff here to Vandegrift.
Remember, it was yesterday's game, too, that Alabama had the bases loaded in the first inning and came away with no runs. That was a huge opportunity. In fact, it was bases loaded, less than 2 outs. Could not capitalize on that opportunity. So important when you have those chances against a team like Oklahoma that you strike.
Vandegrift strikes this into right field and caught by Pickering. 1 down.
And Kirsten Deal will move the ball around. When she gets 2 strikes, she wants to work the outside corner against both lefties and righties, can change speeds, going both up and down the zone very well. The curveball is a pitch that she's going to rely on the most, throwing it at 42% of the time, like a typical lefty. Goes with her rise ball up in the zone at 29% and will work that changeup about 12% of the time, mixing a drop as well.
Takes on Callie Hevelin here for Alabama. Had 2 hits in game 1. In fact, she had 2 of Alabama's 3 hits combined yesterday against Oklahoma game 1 starter Sam Landry. Handcuffed and popped up to the left side. Nellie McEnroe-Marinas completes the 2nd out of the inning. And Amanda, you mentioned bases loaded, less than 2 outs yesterday in the first inning for Patrick Murphy's Alabama Crimson Tide. They were 0 for 5 with runners on in game 1. That was a major point of emphasis for their head coach coming into game 2.
That offense that is just greatly improved from last season in terms of batting average, home runs, stolen bases, every category they've improved upon. And scoring 1 run against Oklahoma, it puts a lot of pressure on your pitchers and defense to keep that lead. So, of course, you always want to go into a game hoping that you score 1 run, and more than 1 run would be great, especially when you're playing Oklahoma. But that has to be the goal for this offense that is so improved, to put some runs on the board.
Elstad lays off the 0-2. And now 2-2 to the starting third baseman for Alabama. enjoying a terrific season after transferring in from the University of Louisiana. And works it full after trailing in the count 0-2. Was the Sun Belt Newcomer of the Year in 2024, leading the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns with 54 runs batted in. Payoff with 2 outs.
Coach Murphy and the coaching staff noticed right away just that calm mentality that Brooke Elistad has in the box. It's what led to so many clutch moments in her career before she got here, and they plugged her in the top of the order in that 3-hole. Just that consistent, calm, even-keeled mentality that she brings to this lineup.
And that rings her up on the inside corner. Deal painting. And a 1-2-3 inning for the Oklahoma starter.
Yeah, and you got to watch this backdoor curve. If you were a left-handed hitter, will sneak back across the plate, even a little bit of rise ball action to it. Deal looking good on the road.
NCAA tournament. This is the first time they have played each other in Tuscaloosa in the regular season, and of course, Amanda, the first time as SEC opponents.
And that 2012 national championship, the first championship for an SEC team that Alabama brought to the conference, the first softball national championship. That Champ Series went 3 games against OU. Alabama actually lost game 1 and won game 2, and then a 1-run game in game 3 where they won 5-4 and sealed the deal.
And then the very next year, Oklahoma won it all.
A little bit of motivation
No
from
doubt.
the year before, maybe, among other things that year.
Sid Sanders with a mile-high pop-up foul territory. Maybe lost in the sun for a moment, but Brooke Elistad with nice composure making the play, 1 down.
Yeah, and with these large crowds at the stadiums in the SEC are getting, sometimes these fly balls in the air for so long can cause some havoc because it's just hard to hear each other even when you're right next to each other. Saw a ball drop even in a collision, and actually I don't think it caught, but there was a collision in the Texas game, just a foul ball down the first base line in between Reese Atwood and Jolene Mitchell. And Reese Atwood told her, I can't hear you. Jolene Mitchell was calling it. They ran into each other, right there by each other, but just, I can't hear you. So even a fly ball like that in these SEC stadiums where there's thousands of fans are tough to get.
Abigail Dayton, right side, diving play, Heatherland. The flip to first is in time. Whoa! 2 down in the second.
These are the plays that you have to make when you're playing Oklahoma. They make you be perfect. They make you make the routine plays. And honestly, you have to make the great plays. And this is a great play by Callie Heavland. That transfer had to be perfect. She's on the ground. There's nothing more for her to do. But that transfer had to be perfect. It was. And she got the important second out.
Well, Patrick Murphy told us coming into the series, our fielding has to be better. In game 1, it was, Amanda, and already early in game 2, we're seeing the exact same thing from the Tide defense.
Well, and it's something that Alabama can really build off of. Only allowed 2 walks. They didn't have any errors. When you play Oklahoma, you know at this point, that's how you have to play in order to give yourself the best chance to beat them.
1-1 to Bayani, high chopper in from short. Hawkins, and a 1-2-3 inning for Jocelyn Brisky, looking cool through 2 in Tuscaloosa. Well, in years past, we have thought of pitching when it comes to Patrick Murphy's Alabama Crimson Tide. It's what allowed them to get to the Women's College World Series the last 2 years. But this year, Amanda, their offense, one of the best in program history.
Yeah, going from one of their worst offensive seasons last year to one of their best offensive seasons this year. Look at their home run number. They've already surpassed the number that they hit the entirety of last season. Already scored more runs than they did the entire 2024 season. Remember, they made it to the World Series and have that speed factor that you mentioned earlier today, with a big reason being the addition of the freshman, Andre Vandegrift, the leadoff hitter.
Alexis Papillo makes her first start of the series. did come in the 7th yesterday to pinch hit. Patrick Murphy told us not only are we playing the percentages, but we want to see Papillo get her back going a little bit. That's why they brought her here, transferring over. And they feel like if they can get her back going a little bit here late in the season, it'll be a big jolt in the middle of the lineup for Alabama.
This is a player who really raked at the beginning, coming over as a transfer to Alabama and hit well in the fall and hit well at the beginning of the season. But talked to Kayla Bro before the game, and she said her timing's off. Just not seeing the ball very well, and actually almost hits close to 3. Here's Kayla coaching first base. We're on it. 3-time All-American here, first base coach, and her 2nd year coaching with the Crimson Tide, her alma mater. But Papillo, even as a lefty, hits well off of lefties, has almost a 300 batting average, hits a little bit higher off of right-handed pitchers, but still sees the ball well off of left-handed pitchers.
3-2 from Kirsten Deal. And her 2nd strikeout, 1 down in the 2nd inning.
Now her upspin is looking good. Both of her strikeouts have had this bit of upspin where she's gotten a chase out of the zone there with Papillo, but a good low rise ball that is just tough to lay off of with 2 strikes as you think it's coming in there for a strike itself.
Heather Ducher comes up swinging, knocks it foul.
Something that Sam Landry threw a lot yesterday was her rise ball as well, throwing her drop ball more this year, transferring over from Louisiana. So scouting report must be for these pitchers to use that upspin and see if they can get Alabama to chase.
They have not chased often in this game so far, Amanda. Already 3 ball counts for Kirsten Deal through an inning and a 3rd.
You want to see, seeing a lot of pitches, making her work in front of this big home crowd, putting some extra pressure on her, getting some extra looks.
Outside ball 2 to Ducher. Sophomore from Kindred, North Dakota. And an incredible athlete. In fact, she was the North Dakota Gatorade Basketball Player of the Year after starting every game on her varsity team since 7th grade.
Man.
And now casually just playing softball at Alabama. Oh! Got hit on the 3-1 and takes first base. And the first hitter is aboard tonight for Alabama.
I hear about too many softball players coming from North Dakota from that state. Abby Ducher making her way to one of the most popular softball programs in the country here at Alabama, taking that curveball up and in. And that elbow guard too.
Kinley Pate is going to come into pinch run for Ducher. And Riley Valentine will come to the plate, making her first start of the series in place of Marley Giles. This year she is 5 for 8 against left-handed pitching. And sends this into center, down for a base hit. Pate goes first to 3rd. And Bama starting a rally in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Riley Valentine getting the start back behind the plate. Yesterday was Marley Giles, their captain, and knowing that she likes left-handed pitching, has seen the ball well off of left-handed pitching in the season, swings at the first pitch that she sees, crushes it to center field, and now here is an opportunity with Alabama with runners on early in this game to try to strike first.
Well, that was a major point of emphasis for Patrick Murphy coming into the series. Taking control early. They did it yesterday, albeit by 1 run. A chance to do it again here in game 2. And that hit Johnson, but she swung through the zone, and it's a strike.
Yeah, looked like a little hit and run. The runner at first base was in motion, and it looked like Lauren Johnson was just going to put a swing on it no matter where it was at. And man, that's going to hurt. I mean, she is being so tough right now. That hurts so bad. I think actually Coach Rocha, the pitching coach for Oklahoma, is going to call timeout.
That sounded like it went off her bat. That's how hard it hit the top of her hand. We said it earlier in the game, Amanda. Tide were 0 for 5 with runners on yesterday. Crowd on its feet here at the Rhodes House, understanding the opportunity in front of their team. Had the bases loaded, less than 2 outs in the first inning in game 1, unable to capitalize. Runners at the corners here in the bottom of the second, less than 2 outs, and a chance to strike first.
The crowd is always louder when Emily Pitek Clifford is in the house on the third base dugout leading the way. I mean, she really gets this crowd involved even more.
The 1-1 to Johnson. .32 pitches from Deal, just 16 strikes. Johnson tried to drop down a bunt, foul.
Trying to lay down a squeeze there with speed at third base. And now puts Johnson in a 2-strike situation to see if she can try to lay off of this rise ball that Deal has been trying to go to.
And she does, full count.
It's a great take. And now you know that Deal has to come down in the zone to you.
5th full count of the game for Deal. Handcuff right side. Run comes in, and Bama takes the lead. And I believe Patrick Murphy is going to challenge at second base. No, he waved it off. He was asking potentially to challenge the call at second base of Valentine being out on the force.
And that was not an easy bat for Lauren Johnson. She fouled one off, got hit on her hand, and then just found a way to get inside that inside pitch to hit a ground ball to the right side to score the first run of this game. Well played by Oklahoma to be able to keep a runner out of scoring position with that force out that was really close. Potentially could have had a challenge there, but Coach Murphy decides not to. But I just want to go back to that Lauren Johnson at bat. Looked like she was put in a couple of different positions in her AB to get her down with 2 strikes. She fouled one off of her hand. You know she was in pain, but still made the most of her AB to get an RBI.
Patrick Murphy was 0 for 2 in challenges yesterday. One very controversial coming in the 7th. Ultimately allowed Oklahoma to have a runner on, and Maya Bland coming to the plate. She hit a home run, giving Oklahoma the lead. Here is the 1-1 count to Saylin Hawkins.
And you're feeling good, too, if you're Alabama, that the first time in the game you got runners on, you pushed a run across. Now the goal is just going to have to be to continue to put runs on the board. Oklahoma not going to go away easily ever.
In the left field, seeing a single off the bat of Saylin Hawkins. Keeps the inning alive for Alabama.
Kirsten Deal just continues to try to use this rise ball up and in on the hands of these right-handed hitters, and Saylin Hawkins gets fisted but gets enough of it and swinging hard just to float it out to left field for another hit in this inning.
And now in the 9 spot, a very dangerous hitter for Alabama. Kristen White, who is batting .357 over her last 10 games. And in the words of Patrick Murphy, that, Amanda, is why she's getting the start in game 2.
It's a player with a ton of experience. Alabama is so deep in the outfield, just top to bottom, a lot of athletes. Coach Murphy said this is the deepest team that we've had in terms of athleticism. Kristen White is a big part of that.
Well, she started to begin the year, and Patrick Murphy said, you know, she was just the unlucky one over a stretch, the odd man out, so to speak, with all the other outfielders playing so well. It's not that she was playing poorly. Now giving her a chance here in game 2. And a big moment it is with 2 outs and 2 on. A chance to open up this lead against the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners.
See if she goes to that rise ball again, the pitch that she is just wanting these Alabama hitters to chase up and out of the zone.
Two and two. Over 40 pitches through the first 2 innings for Kirsten Deal. Alabama has made her work. White sprays the 2-2 into right field. They will wave the runner. And Bama takes a 2-0 lead.
So big to capitalize on this opportunity with runners on base. Now 3 hits for Alabama with runners on base, and we're just in the 2nd inning. Kristen White, the 9-hole, getting the start today. Coach Murphy understanding that she can do this job. She has the experience. She has good success against left-handed pitching, and she scores the 2nd the run of this game.
Vandegrift, high pop-up will get out of play. Lively crowd at the Rhodes House. That was caught down the left field line. They roared as loudly for that as they did the run coming across.
It's the best part, too, about scoring early when you're at home is that you get the crowd involved in the game.
Runners at the corners, 2 down. Bama has already scored 2 in this inning. Second time through the order here for Alabama, and the 30th pitch of the inning here from Deal. Strike 2.
A couple of pitches in Vandegrift's at bats off of Deal where she just doesn't look like she's seen the ball particularly well out of her hand. You know, there was something that she changed in her swing just before her senior year in high school. She told me that she doesn't step anymore. She says, I coil and transfer all my weight. So took out her stride her senior year and had a crazy high school year, hit all of these home runs, added to her power in the box. Notice that with her stride foot when she swings.
1-2, roll to the right side, charging it out by Yanni and makes the scoop to first. Bama strands 2, but they plate 2 on 3 hits, and the Tide take the lead into the 3rd in Tuscaloosa.
And a 1-2 count off of Jocelyn Brisky. Got a changeup that missed over the heart of the plate. She was looking for it and just did not miss. She's due up 2nd in this inning, and that earned her the start in this game. She also started the midweek game against Oklahoma State where she hit another home run, one off of Ruby Malin. That was another go-ahead home run. But how about after that, giving up that home run, Matt, how Jocelyn Brisky has come out and looked really great to start this game.
Gets a quick out here and is now set down 5 in a row.
And a lot of soft contact, too. We saw Oklahoma in their outs in yesterday's game whenever they were an out that was put in play. They were hard-hit balls that Alabama had to make plays on. A lot of soft-hit ground balls feeding her infield.
Strike one to Maya Bland, who you referenced getting the first start of the series here in game 2. Has really boosted that average this week, up to 286 with those 2 home runs. But for Brieske, this was a major test. Last 2 outings, 1 inning pitched at LSU, 2 earned runs on 3 hits, 2 walks. Yesterday, an inning and a third, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, and a walk, including that game-winning home run given up to Maya Bland.
She looked good. She was 3 up, 3 down in the 6th inning whenever she came in, and then started out the 7th inning with a really weird play, followed by a strikeout, and then it was the home run after Gabby Garcia reached on a bunt.
0-2 to Bland. Again to first, Dutcher. A tap of the bag, 2 down.
And honestly, that feels so good. To get past that first at bat where you face a hitter that hit the home run off of you. It's always in the back of your mind, but you just have to trudge forward and continue forward. And we talked about that, having the mindset to go out there, get the start after giving up that home run. It is not always easy. It feels uncomfortable. You're thinking everybody's talking about you. Oh, that's the pitcher that gave up the home run. They're not going to cheer for you or whatever it is. You have to push that aside. And it's exactly what Brieske has done so far in this game, first time through the order.
I'm sure you've had moments like that in your career. How tough was it? And how did you, Amanda, overcome coming back the next day or day after in the series?
You just can't think about it. You have to go all in with the next pitch with 110% of what you have. Because the minute that you start to pull back and you think about it and you're fearful of it happening again, then you're only giving 80%, 70%. You're not giving your best foot forward. And right now, in this game so far, we're seeing Brieske's best foot forward.
2-2 to Cassidy Pickering, second time through now for Oklahoma. How did the Sooners adjust? They have only had 1 runner reach today. That was a walk back in the first. This into center field, chasing his one and cannot get there. Off the wall, and it's a 2-out double for Cassidy Pickering.
That's why I think that they love Cassidy Pickering in the leadoff spot, to get her up as much as possible. She just has professional veteran at bats. Look at her go up and get that rise ball with 2 strikes, anticipating it, getting on plane with it. Great effort by Kristen White. I really thought she was going to track that down. Instead, it goes to the wall and is extra bases for Pickering, who just has been on a tear.
So Nelly McEnroe Marinas, the tying run at the plate here with 2 outs in the third. One out to third. Elstad on the first in time, and Brieske pitches around a 2-out double. Holding Oklahoma scoreless through 3. It's a 2-0 lead for the Tide. Well, the Alabama Crimson Tide coming into the weekend in the top 20 in the RPI, but sort of on the outside looking in of hosting a regional. Something that has never happened here, missing hosting a regional. This is a big series for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Big
Amanda.
series to finish out this weekend and what they have coming up, because they have an opportunity to increase that win total against top 25 teams, which Oklahoma falls under right now. So their RPI for Alabama is sitting at 19, one of the best strengths of schedules in the country, which will go a long way for their resume, especially if they could get a win or 2 in the next couple of games against Oklahoma would be huge. But they have a challenging schedule coming up, trying to get some momentum here at the end of the season and catch fire.
I'm going to ask ask you to look into your crystal ball. If the season ended today, what does your gut tell you about Alabama hosting?
You know, it's really hard because I haven't taken enough of a look at the teams around
the country.
them and
Sure.
in RPI to compare strength of schedule and top 25 wins and bad losses. I mean, it's a full-fledged, I hate to say it, but it's so cliche, but body of work that the selection committee looks at, that we're so used to hearing that phrase over and over again. And it's comparing and head-to-head. Right now, Mississippi State is ahead of them in RPI, and Alabama lost that series to them. So a lot of numbers to look at, a lot of numbers to crunch and compare when you're trying to see who's going to get those top 16 seeds in May.
8 of Alabama's final 12 games of the regular season, including Game 2 here today against RPI top 10 teams. They have a chance to control their own destiny, not have to worry about the other teams around them. If they can just stack up wins over these next few weeks before the SEC tournament.
And for Alabama, they're trying to slide in there into a top 16 seed. For Oklahoma, they're trying to slide in there to a top 8 seed. So top 16 seeds are going to host a regional, which is a big deal. But if you're a top 8 seed and you win your regional that you get to host, then you get to host a super regional. So it increases your chances just based off history in the past and home field advantage of making it to that next step after supers, which is the Women's College World Series, the Dreamland.
Callie Heavlin shoots the 3-2 in the left. It is gone! A solo blast gives Bama a 3-0 lead.
We talked about Kirsten Deal working the right-handed hitters up and in, and look at Heavlin adjust to this pitch and get her barrel to it. Not an easy pitch to hit, but that is communicating, doing your homework, understand how Deal has been working the right-handed hitters and just punishing this ball. Heavlin only had 6 home runs last season. She doubles that with this home run today. That is home run number 12, and now back-to-back innings scoring for the Tide.
Those 12 home runs for Heavlin, leading the Tide this year. Passes the bat to Brooke Elstead.
Could be a broom, though, too, you know, that you go up and hit with.
Thanks for covering. No, but you're right. Back to the conversation about the postseason. Man, this is a series not only with SEC standings implications, Oklahoma a game back of Texas A&M at the top of the league, but also seeding for the NCAA tournament. Oklahoma 9th in the RPI entering the weekend. And Patty Gasso told us their goal is to be somewhere 4 or 5 or better if they could.
And with their strength of schedule coming up with the rest of SEC play, they have a real opportunity as well. And the only thing holding their resume back when you look at it is going to be their non-conference strength of schedule. So it's going to be another number that the committee is looking at, your non-conference strength of schedule. How much did you challenge your team? Did you create a hard out-of-conference strength of schedule in February and the beginning of March? They look at all these numbers that go into it. It is a huge deal that Alabama put runs on the board in back-to-back innings. Coach Murphy told us coming into this series that they wanted to throw the first punch, and felt like they did that yesterday with the start that they got from Caitlin Riley, and they scored first.
2-2 fly to right, 1 down.
But it's important to continue to throw those punches. I can't stress how big of a deal it is to score in multiple innings and show to Oklahoma and their dugout, we're not going away today.
Patty Gasso out of the Oklahoma dugout. Might this be the end of the road for Kirsten Deal? Second time through the order against the Crimson Tide. Oklahoma does have action in its bullpen. Peyton Monticelli, Audrey Lowry getting loose for the Sooners. Patty Gasso did tell us, don't be surprised to see Audrey Lowry come into this game.
And I think one thing to remember, Matt, is that in terms of RPI and seed conversation, there's still so many games left that have big time implications. So just because a team has an RPI now does not mean on May 11th when we have the selection show that that's what their RPI is going to be there. Both of these teams are working to increase their RPI, make their resume even better to be able to earn a top 8 seed or to be able to earn a top 16 seed. And there is still plenty of opportunity.
2-0 to Alexis Papillo. Now, both of these teams, particularly in recent years, synonymous with postseason success. Of course, Oklahoma, the unprecedented four-peat. And across the diamond, Patrick Murphy's Alabama Crimson Tide have been to back-to-back Women's College World Series, and 4 out of the last 5, not counting the COVID year.
On Oklahoma, they've only lost 3 times. That's it.
This season.
Right, this season. They have only lost 3 games this season. So they continue to put themselves in a position year in and year out to be one of those top 8 seeds.
Time called by Deal. All 3 of those Oklahoma losses coming in the SEC. Their lone series loss at home to Tennessee, who, by the way, just beat Texas today, winning game 3. One-out walk drawn by Papillo, her first time aboard today for Alabama.
See if they make a pitching change. I have a feeling that Patty Gasso timeout was to give the pitchers a little extra time to get loose, and we are actually going to see one. Sometimes those coaches will call timeout, double barrel over in the bullpen, getting loose, and you see Audrey Lowry, the freshman, come in who's been injured. Oh, I'm going to see Isabella Smith.
Welcome those of you joining us on SEC Network, watching Tennessee win in comeback fashion on the baseball diamond here in Tuscaloosa. We welcome you to a sold-out Rhodes House. Oklahoma taking game 1 of this series last night, 5-1 in comeback fashion. Today, Alabama jumping out to a 3-0 lead. Matt Schumacher, Amanda Scarborough with you, and already a pitching change for the Oklahoma Sooners here early in this game. And as we welcome you inside the booth, Matt Schumacher and Amanda Scarborough with you. Amanda, this was the key for Patrick Murphy, Alabama's head coach, coming into this series. Striking early and striking fast against the reigning national champs.
Well, they did that in yesterday's game, too. They scored first, and Oklahoma was trailing the entire game. They scored first in this one. Now for Alabama, it's about finishing. In this season, they've been struggling with leads blown late in the game in the 6th and 7th innings. Exact same thing happened in yesterday's game with a Maya Bland pinch hit home run, a 2-run home run that was a go-ahead.
So 1 on and 1 out for Alabama here in the 3rd. Isabella Smith takes over for Kirsten Deal in the circle, the senior coming in with a runner aboard.
Got to be more up in the zone with that rise ball, a pitch that she likes to go to 42% of the time. We've seen Oklahoma pitchers offer a lot of rise balls to Alabama hitters. Sam Landry threw the complete game, threw under 100 pitches yesterday in that complete game win. Aimed on her rise ball a lot. And then Kirsten Deal, who got the start today, the lefty, went up in the zone as well.
Well, for Isabella Smith, her innings have been more limited the deeper we have gotten into SEC play. Didn't pitch at all in the 3-game series against Tennessee, series that preceded this one for Oklahoma, coming off a bye weekend in league play. 1-2 to Dukeshire. And a strikeout against her first batter face. 2 outs in the 3rd.
It has definitely been where OU pitching has tried to go more up in the zone, and Dukeshire ends up just feeding right into it, chases that rise ball, and Isabella Smith with a strikeout to start her relief appearance. Going to get real comfortable real fast if they keep chasing that.
Here is Riley Valentine. Singled in her first at bat of the game against Kirsten Deal back in the 2nd inning. Bama has scored at least 1 run in each of the last 2 innings, including a leadoff homer by Callie Heveland to start the 3rd. Ball gets away from Emmerling, and the tag is in time to get Papillo, and that will end the 3rd.
That could be the momentum swing that OU might need, but don't forget about the momentum even more that Alabama grabbed with the 3rd run scored in this game, a solo shot by Callie Heveland, her 12th home run. Oh, just how bad it hurts in that moment, being a pitcher myself, to think that you're going to beat the defending champs in the 7th inning. We're just 2 outs away. She's ahead of Maya Bland, 1-2. All she has to do is execute a pitch. Instead, Bland executed a home run. It is not easy to come back out here and start the next game, and she has had a really good start through 3 innings.
By the way, if you missed game 1, there was controversy as well in the 7th inning. Brisky thought she had 2 outs, and instead there was a call at first base that allowed the runner to stay there. Maya Bland comes in. Brisky has her down 1-2 with 1 out. Maya Bland with a pinch hit home run. Ultimately, Oklahoma plating 5 in that inning, coming away with a 5-1 comeback victory in game 1.
She's really been using her drop ball to feed her infield a lot of ground balls, something that Alabama's defense has struggled with. They have not had the best fielding percentage this year in its entirety, but it seems like in the past few weeks, their defense has gotten stronger. No errors in yesterday's game, only a couple of free passes in terms of walks by the Alabama pitching staff. Their defense has been making plays.
Here is the 1-2 to Ella Parker. Misses low, ball 2. Well, you're right. Alabama came into the day with a .959 fielding percentage, 13th in the SEC, but they have been much tighter defensively in this series. Parker to center. Speaking of, Kristen White in center field.
Kristen White can cover a lot of ground out there in center field. She was tested toward right center field, couldn't grab one earlier in the game. A Pickering double, gets to this one in left center and comes away with a pretty catch. Doesn't even have to go down to the ground. That is an important leadoff out.
Making her first start of the series in center. Also had an RBI single in the 9 spot earlier in this game. And now 1 down to the bases clear for Gabby Garcia. Garcia, one of 10 freshmen on this Oklahoma Sooners roster. And that, I believe, caught Tatum Stolting, the home plate umpire. And everyone's going to give her a second to catch her breath. Scott Mayer coming in from first base. Chelsea Clark over at third.
Just went right over Riley Valentine's glove. I don't know if there's a mix-up in pitch call or what. You just don't see that very often, and I'm sure it's jarring if you're Tatum back behind the plate.
Well, that's the third time, I believe, at least in this game, Amanda, that looked like Riley Valentine got crossed up with Jocelyn Brisky. Of course, Valentine is not the primary starter behind home plate. That's Marley Giles. But Valentine getting the start here in game 2, her first start of the series. Stolting will stay behind home, and a 2-0. Misses ball 3. Second time through the order for Oklahoma. We wondered coming into this inning, how would they adjust to Brisky? This is a more patient at bat, certainly, for Gabby Garcia.
Working the count, taking some pitches that are up in the zone that are clearly balls. Chasing that one out of the zone in a hitter's count, looking like that was a pitch that she liked to hit, but that rise ball has some zip on it today.
Full count to Garcia. Mile high pop up. It'll stay in the infield. Saylin Hawkins makes the catch. It's short, 2 away.
And she chased it again. Had a really good eye to start that at bat. Got to a 3-0 count, then helped her in that 3-1. A swing and miss on the rise, and then chased the rise for the easy pop out to the infield.
Sydney Sanders digs in for the Sooners. Last time Oklahoma trailed 3-0 was less than a week ago against Oklahoma State. Trailed 3-0 early in that game, wound up winning 11-3 in front of 9,000 plus in Oklahoma City. And if you are just joining us, Amanda talked about at the top of the show, Oklahoma continuing to show us that they have the ability to win in different ways, despite such a youthful roster. Can't ever count them out, as Sanders is now down in the count 1-2.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like they ever panic when they get down. There's so much belief in that dugout, even though there's a ton of new faces, whether it be freshmen or transfers. It's an entirely different looking roster and starting lineup, but that same mindset still lives in the Sooner dugout.
Into left, giving chase Vandegrift, and a 1-2-3 inning for Brisky. We will chat with the Oklahoma head coach, Patty Gasso, when we return. Bama with a 3-0 lead, middle of the 4th in T-10. Interesting, Amanda, that interview right there was not unlike the interview we heard yesterday. Remember, Oklahoma had 3 hits through the first 6 innings in game 1. They came alive in the 7th with 5 runs on 4 hits, and now Patty Gasso's team's going to have to do it again, trailing 3-0 here in the bottom of the 4th, with Isabella Smith back in the circle for the Sooners. Struck out Abby Dukeshire to close the 3rd. Coming in to relieve Kirsten Deal.
Well, it's in this time, too. Look, if you're Alabama, you've scored in back-to-back innings. You want to score again in this inning to continue to put pressure on. And then on defense, I mean, I hate to say that you have to be perfect to beat them, but it really does feel defensively like you have to be perfect to beat Oklahoma. And so on defense, they just have to continue to make plays and don't open the door at all for them on D.
They have been very clean defensively in this series. Rising to the challenge here in game 2, at least to this point. 2-1 to Riley Valentine. And Riley Valentine making her first start of the series, singled in her first at bat. Patrick Murphy told us they're seeing more fire from her this year in her second season after transferring over from Texas A&M. And draws a leadoff walk.
Just there's something about her where it feels like she has her best at bats in the absolute biggest moments. She might not hit for a high average. In fact, entering this game just hitting 205, but it just seems like her hits come, or her great at bats come to draw that leadoff walk, come at the most important games and the most important times.
And now Lauren Johnson. Drops down a bunt, fair territory, tough play, and there isn't a play at either base. Both are safe for Bama in the fourth.
It's a well-executed bunt by Lauren Johnson, who just seems to be working on all cylinders, going back to last weekend against Baton Rouge, and her earlier at bat, earlier in this game, surprised Emerling didn't throw that, as Riley Valentine was so far off of second base, and Emerling has such a good arm. Surprised she didn't decide to make that throw to take a chance to get her out, but now 2 on for Bama.
Lauren Johnson now has a hit in 8 of the last 9 SEC games. 2 on, nobody out. Saylin Hawkins drops down a bunt. Well executed, and the bases are loaded for Alabama in the fourth.
Where this is Alabama's strength, their athleticism, their speed, their short game when it's working. This ball just dies right out in between Emerling and Smith. Miscommunication. It's Loudon here, but that it was just in no man's land. A couple of bunts put down, well-executed bunts by Johnson with her speed, and then Hawkins.
How about the small ball here from Patrick Murphy? Bases loaded, nobody out. Bama with a 3-0 lead right back after this. Pittsboro, Indiana. Audrey Lowry, Amanda, with the bases loaded, nobody out.
And the freshman steps into the biggest moment maybe in her young career. Pitch game 3, the South Carolina series in Norman that started out Oklahoma's inaugural SEC play, and that was a big game for her. She stepped up, won that game. Now enters in relief, where Patty Gasso says she's very comfortable in these relief moments.
Quickly 0-2 to Kristen White in the 9 spot. White's first at bat of the game, an RBI single off Kirsten Deal, also a left-handed pitcher. Here's the 0-2. Outside, ball 1. Alabama had the bases loaded, less than 2 outs in game 1, and were unable to capitalize. Today, they have been much better with the timely hitting. But boy, is this a big inning for both teams. White, chopper, in from third, McEnroe Moranis. The tag is in time by Emerling. And Valentine out at the plate.
And that was a really weird play that maybe could have snowballed, but good execution by Oklahoma's defense.
Well, this might be the best hitter to come to the plate with the bases loaded right now for Alabama. Audrey Vandegrift batting a team best .432. Freshman on freshman here. Vandegrift from Bogart, Georgia. Launches this in the right field. Back on it, Pickering. Deep enough to score a run. And Bama adds to its lead.
That'll work. 3 innings in a row that Alabama has scored. I can't even tell you how important that is. To keep your foot on the gas pedal, continue to throw punches, scoring in all different types of ways. Especially with how Oklahoma is playing, and you felt it from Patty Gasso in our mid-game interview. Continue to try to push them down and extend your lead.
And now Callie Hevelin has a chance to add to it. Alabama had just 3 hits in game 1. Callie Hevelin had 2 of those. And already today has homered. Runner goes, and the tag won't even be applied. White is in safely at second base, and now 2 in scoring position with 2 down in the 4th for Alabama.
Thinking they're likely going to stick with throwing her outside, work the off-speed pitch that you just saw there from Lowry, knowing that she crushed her home run on a curveball up and in her hands. Got her barreled to that pitch. She was on time within.
Big strikeout there of Hevelin to end the inning, but as Amanda mentioned, 3 straight innings with a run scored, and Bama leads 4-zip. Is brought to you by T-Mobile 5G home internet. Alabama started the scoring in the 2nd thanks to this run-scoring fielder's choice off the bat of Lauren Johnson. Then a couple of hitters later, Kristen White of the 9 spot, spraying this down for another RBI single. Bama led 2-0. Then leading off the 3rd, Callie Hevelin with her team-leading 12th bomb of the year. And Amanda, Alabama keeping its foot on the gas the way you said they had to. They lead it by 4 entering the 5th.
Yeah, they went 3 up, 3 down in that first inning, but the next 3 innings after that, anybody who has reached, they have been able to score in that inning and capitalize when they've gotten runners on, so they did not do last night.
0 for 5 with runners on last night were the Tide in a 5-1 game 1 defeat. Today 5 for 10. And the pitcher in the circle during the pivotal moment of that defeat last night for Alabama was Jocelyn Brisky. Gave up the pinch hit 2-run homer to Maya Bland, giving Oklahoma its first lead of the game. She comes back and gets the start in game 2. We wondered how would she respond. She has been nearly flawless tonight.
To me, it was just a story of resilience. I mean, I'm sure she didn't get a lot of sleep last night and then came back out today thinking about it. And maybe, I'm not sure when she found out that she was going to start this game, but she's just been great. And I just keep going back to how hard it is as a pitcher to go back out there in front of 4,500 people, your own team, the opposing team, that know that you were the one that gave up the home run, and still trot back out there, forget about it, and move forward.
One-two count to Abigail Dayton, the 6-hitter leading things off for the Sooners in the 5th. In the center, tracking it is White, and makes the catch, 1 away.
And thinking about it too, Matt, I feel like it's just something so unique to our sport. You oftentimes compare baseball and softball, but you don't see a relief pitcher or closer give up a home run in the 9th inning and then start the game the very next day. This is so unique to softball that she would be put in this situation, back-to-back games, to end the game and then start the very next game.
Agbayani lasered into the mid of Vandegrift, 2 away. That's such a great point. And Patrick Murphy told us before the game, straight up, if we're going to win in May, we need Jocelyn Brisky. There was no other option for him as far as what he's trying to do long term. It had to be Brisky. She had to show this type of resilience. Boy, has she delivered.
She has it. She has really great stuff. She showed that last year as a freshman. When they needed her in the postseason, she stepped up alongside Kayla Beaver, but it seemed like Brisky was the one just late in the year that just took her game to another level as a freshman. She is fully capable of it. This year just has been more challenging for her as a sophomore. Given up a few too many free passes, walks, hit by pitch, but when you look at her batting average against her, I mean, it's pretty low, but those walks get you in trouble in a hurry.
Just the lone walk tonight for Brisky. And a 2-1 count to Emmerling. Yeah, to your point, last year she pitched in all 3 super regional games against Tennessee, including the 1 earned run over 6 1/3 in the decisive Game 3 victory, sending Bama to back-to-back Women's College World Series. Emmerling shoots the 2-1 into right field, and it's just foul for strike 2.
Well, and their theme last year that they kept saying over and over again when they had one of the worst seasons, or the worst season that they've ever had in SEC play, is just the word yet. We haven't played our best game yet. We haven't played our best yet. And it was a theme that stuck with them, ended up making to the Women's College World Series despite having a losing record in SEC play for the first time in history.
To third, Elstad scoops and fires, and another 1-2-3 inning for Jocelyn Brisky, cruising with a 4-0 lead, middle of the 5th in Tuscaloosa. So we're all seeing it for the first time together. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3. You got the RPI, the strength of schedule, and record against the RPI top 25. Any guesses, Amanda Scarborough?
Well, I don't know who is who, but the Team 1 clearly sticks out to me based off of their wins versus top 25 alone. So 9 wins for that team compared to 4. And now I'm forgetting how many wins is in the bottom team, but they had the most wins, best strength of schedule 8. There we go. And so that's UCLA, Virginia Tech, and Alabama. And RPI is a big number that they use when their selection committee is deciding, not the only thing that they look at, but a big part of the criteria along with your strength of schedule. And Coach Murphy told us that he may have overscheduled this year with this team and had a really tough non-conference preseason or pre-conference schedule, and looking back on it, maybe it was a little bit too hard. Did I overschedule knowing we had a tough SEC schedule ahead too? But maybe it's just going to make them stronger in the end.
Does that come back to help them, though?
Exactly.
Come selection time, right? Top 10 strength of schedule. Certainly that is one of the many factors that the committee will weigh in addition to RPI. By the way, those 9 wins against RPI top 25, top 10 most in the country. That's off the glove of Lowry, and the throw is not in time, and Elstad is aboard for the first time tonight.
It was a well-struck ball by Elstad. Just bounces, though, off of Lowry's glove. It was hard hit. She had to move a little bit to her glove side, and Elstad hustled down the line to get down there quick.
And now Alexis Papillo. Excuse me, swing. The flip to second, good. No time for a turn, but they do get Elstad one away.
When you're just putting pressure on a team like that, that check swing just rides right back into Oklahoma's momentum, because right now you don't want them to think that you're unsure about anything. The way that you're taking a pitch, the way that you're going after a pitch, you want them to think you are just all in, pedal to the metal about every aspect of the game. And I know it just seems, oh, it's check swing, whatever, but you know that just you may or may not let Oklahoma in a little bit with unsuredness.
Your attention, please. Pitch running for Alabama, number 81, Monty Hubbard.
Monty Hubbard comes into pitch run for Papillo over at first base. And Dukeshire at the plate. Hit by a pitch, struck out, and a run scored. And a first pitch strike to Dukeshire. Well, this 4-run deficit matches the largest deficit of the season for Oklahoma. This is sent to the left. Add to the deficit. A 2-run ball for Abby Duchscher. That for confidence, Amanda Scarborough.
And that's having your teammates back. When she goes up and check swing, you can't think, oh, I hope I don't do that, or, oh, that was kind of bad. I hope that I don't go up there and second guess my own self, because she goes all in, this pitch up in the zone, recognizes it, kind of out around it. But Abby Duchscher is so strong. 7th home run of the season for Duchscher, and now Alabama has scored in 4 consecutive innings.
What a response in Game 2 by the Crimson Tide after losing a 1-0 lead with 1 out and a 1-2 count in the 7th in Game 1. On the cusp, and we felt it in the stadium yesterday, with the crowd behind them, on the cusp of taking down 4-time defending national champs. Couldn't get it done. And Patrick Murphy told us during his mid-game interview a few innings ago, his message to his team, all the pressure's on Oklahoma. Why not go out and steal one tonight?
It's all about the mindset, especially after a tough loss like that, where you might start to feel like all the pressure is on us because we lost that game before. We have to come out here and win this one. But it's Coach Murphy who has coached for so many years that just knows how to get through to his team and get them in the right mindset to enter this next game with a fresh start.
Lauren Johnson with 2 outs to second base. Agbayani records the 3rd out of the inning. But for the 4th consecutive inning, Alabama on the board.
And second
home run of the game, Amanda.
For Alabama, Callie Heflin hit the first. Duchscher hits the second. This Alabama offense that has greatly improved from last year is exploding.
Rare air for Oklahoma. Largest deficit of the season for Patty Gasso's Sooners. Last time they were shut out, yes, all the way back in 2019 in the Women's College World Series against Alabama. These two have played some epic games before. Meeting, though, for the first time in the regular season in Tuscaloosa as conference foes. So many of their prior meetings coming in the postseason, and in particular in Oklahoma City. Maya Bland was the one to put Oklahoma on the board and on top in Game 1. With a pinch hit 2-run homer in the 7th last night. Can she start a rally here in the 6th against Jocelyn Briskey?
It's a big inning for Briskey, too, knowing that Cassidy Pickering is on deck, the leadoff hitter for OU. It'll be 3 times through the order for them at that point.
One away in the 6th.
And I think one of the most challenging things to do in our sport right now is face the same lineup. Nevertheless, one of the best offenses in the country for a 3rd time through. So I'm sure Coach Murphy will be taking a look at these takes and the Oklahoma approach and ball coming off of the bat to see when and if he might need to make a pitching change late in the game, or if it's Briskey's game here on.
Now the 3rd time through for Cassidy Pickering. She did double in her last at bat against Briskey in the 3rd. That remains the lone hit of the game for the Sooners to this point. up the middle. Backhanded Haviland. Hard stop and a throw to first in time. Boy, has she been slick at second base today.
Yeah, she's covered a lot of ground, had balls hit right at her in last night's game as well. And not to mention, she has that big home run. Callie Haviland playing big in these first 2 games against Oklahoma.
You talked about it, Amanda. The fielding had to be near perfect in this series to beat Oklahoma. That's just how good they are. They're inevitable, in the words of some.
Well, and she's only thrown 70 pitches almost through 6 innings. So that pitch count is low, getting Oklahoma out early in the count. They're chasing out of their zone.
Well, Patty Gasso told us she was a little bit frustrated with the approach at the plate during her in-game interview, telling us she felt like her team almost looked uninspired at the plate. Here is the 2-0 to McEnroe-Marinas. Strike 1.
And Brisky's just making some good pitches. That pitch on a 2-0 count, or in a 2-0 count, right at the knees, inside corner. Not a lot as a right-handed hitter that you can do with that. And you're thinking 2-0 count, I'm going to get something better than that. And beautiful drop ball to get back into the count. And then good take there by Nelly that did not go after that rise ball. See if Brisky goes back to that drop ball in the inner half again.
Hitters count to the freshman McEnroe-Marinas. In the air to right. Playable for Johnson. 10 straight retired for Jocelyn Brisky. Bama with a 6-0 lead as we head to the home half of the 6th in Tuscaloosa.
SEC Softball is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet.
Multiple home runs in the game for Alabama today. A totally different offense for the Crimson Tide after being held to just 1 run yesterday and 3 hits. What a difference a night of sleep will make for the Crimson Tide. They have taken advantage with runners on. 6 for 12 today. And those 2 home runs coming in major moments. They've scored at least 1 run, Amanda, in each of the last 4 innings.
Good execution with some buns. We've seen a home run. Execution on the right side with Lauren Johnson's RBI to get on the board.
Hawkins to short. Well played by Garcia, 1 down. One thing to take comfort in if you're Oklahoma, they have mounted comebacks before. They had a 5-1 deficit against South Carolina earlier in league play. Wound up winning that game 10-9.
That opening weekend for Oklahoma was intense. Patty Gasso called that weekend against Carolina all 3 one-run games, but survival of the fittest.
They have not scored a run in the first 6 innings in either game in this series, yet they won game 1. Granted, they trailed 1-0 heading into the 7th yesterday afternoon. Bit of a bigger mountain to climb tonight, and Audrey Lowry's job is to keep it at 6. 1 out and a 2-0 count, 2-1 count rather, to Kristen White.
Well, and to your point, too, just they've hit in 13 different innings, and they've only scored in 1 of those 13 innings. As a 7th inning yesterday. Really when it mattered most, right? To get
No
that
doubt.
win, but their offense has been awfully quiet.
Against an Alabama pitching staff that hasn't been the strength of the team this year. Some irony in this series already here in game 2 in Tuscaloosa. But she has been tremendous tonight. Jocelyn Brisky bouncing back after giving up the game-winning home run to Oklahoma last night. White, floater in the right field. Charging in, Pickering, 2 down. Base is empty for Audrey Vandegrift. 0 for tonight. Did have the sac fly, though, in the 4th. Drops down a bunt and foul. New catcher into the game for Oklahoma. It's Corey Hicks replacing Isabella Emmerling.
Every slot in the lineup for Alabama has reached base except for Vandegrift, who has the highest on-base percentage on the team.
And elite speed. Leads the nation in stolen bases.
I mean, opening weekend, talked about stolen bases. Opening weekend, Vandegrift had 9 stolen bases. 6 RBIs, 6 runs scored, a monster opening weekend as a freshman.
In the left, and caught for the 3rd out of the inning. Oklahoma down to its final 3 outs. They'll have the heart of the lineup. Parker, Garcia, and Sanders, the do-ups for the national champs.
Home run to Maya Bland, which was a pinch hit home run and a pitcher's count, a 1-2 count. Got the start tonight, and look at what she's done. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit given up, and she has just been absolute nails, so efficient, working her drop ball, her rise, mixing speeds when she needs to. Only 73 pitches for Brisky so far.
To this point, she has held Oklahoma to its fewest base runners in a game this season. Just 3 Sooners have reached. 1 hit and 2 walks in the game. 0-2 to Parker.
Which was the same situation last night entering the 7th inning. It's like deja vu. The only difference is that they have a 6-run lead instead of just a 1-run lead. And when we talked to Coach Murphy before the game, he said, look, we have to score more runs. He said that in his post-game as well. When we have opportunities to score, we have to take advantage of them, and they have done that tonight.
Parker goes down swinging, 1 away in the 7th.
Just her 2nd strikeout. She's been relying on her defense. She's been feeding them ground balls, weak pop flies. They've been making the great plays as well from the hard hit balls off the Sooner bats. A huge strikeout to start this inning, starting it different than how the start of the 7th inning went last night.
Brisky has retired 11 in a row since allowing the lone hit, a double back in the 3rd. And now Gabby Garcia at the plate with 1 away and the base is clear.
And it's something that, you know, not only Alabama and Jocelyn Brisky needed this weekend in this series against Oklahoma. I feel like this is a game, a start, an outing for Brisky that she needs for this entire season to give her the confidence to move forward. You're not just going up against any team, Matt. Rebounding after a home run would be tough, given that you gave up in the 7th inning to lose the game. Doing it against the defending champs, oh, even harder.
You asked Patrick Murphy about the psychology of playing Oklahoma in these big moments, and he said there's certainly something to it. You know, hey, there's a psychology to playing Alabama at home, too. But certainly when you look across the diamond in COU, you know it's a big opportunity. Garcia's bunt will not result in a hit. Well played by this Alabama defense, which has been so slick And now OU down to its final out.
Garcia is so sneaky. Remember, she laid down a bunt last night in the 7th inning, found a way to get on, but that throw from Dukeshire, the angle, the arm angle that she throws that ball at, that's the only way she could get that out.
Crowd on its feet. Sydney Barker batting in the 5 spot for Sydney Sanders. Barker got the start in game 1, coming off the bench here in game 2. In the air to left field. Headed towards the wall, and it's gone! Sydney Barker with a shot of life for the Sooners in the 7th.
Patty Gasso just continues to give Sydney Barker so many chances in starts and in pitch hit opportunities like this one. Props to Brisky, honestly, for just going at her. Hit her cold off the bench, challenge her, missed maybe more of a mistake pitch, didn't quite have the movement. You can tell she's bummed, but girl, you got a 6-run lead. You go at it, hit her like that, and even if she hits a home run, tip your cap to her, go at the next one.
Two outs for Abigail Dayton. The deficit is 5.
I mean, this team is just so difficult to shut out, Matt. The last time that Oklahoma was shut out, and I'm sure a lot of people were wondering, when is the last time that Oklahoma was shut out? Was 2019 at the Women's College World Series.
Against?
Alabama. Just wanted to do a little teamwork then.
1 strike away from taking down the 4-time defending national champs in front of a sold-out Rhodes House crowd on a Sunday night in Tuscaloosa. Alabama has been in so many tight games. 8 times this year they have blown leads after the 5th inning. 4 of their 8 SEC losses by 1 run. This is a monumental opportunity. 1 strike away. Great at bat here with 2 outs by Abigail Dayton. Brisky trying to bring it home. Full count. Agbayani awaits on deck. Should Dayton get on? Fly ball, left field, in foul territory, and caught. And Bama takes game 2 against the defending national champs.